When you need advice, come to Ben and Kelly. It's Group Therapy on 99.7 DJX.
All right, Karen needs us. She says, I've been married to a wonderful man for 2 years. Mm-hmm. He has 2 teenage daughters, 17 and 15. In the beginning, everything was great. But after we got married and moved in together, things went south. The problem is not with him and me. It's with the way he raises his kids. So I get steamed when they refuse to pick up after themselves. But whenever I say something to them, he tells me that I'm being too hard on them or I'm nagging. When they disobey me or talk back, which they do often, they love to roll their eyes and say as sarcastically as possible, "Okay, Karen." Oh. He often rescinds my groundings because he doesn't want to hear them complain. When I've talked to him about this, he says that we only have 1 more year until the oldest goes to college and that we just have to be patient until then. Thankfully, I can't have children of my own, but should I put up with this for another year or fight harder to make my point? And yes, my name actually is Karen.
All right. So what I'm going to say again, isn't, it took time for my situation. So, my parents, I were divorced when I was a teenager. I was going into the 6th grade, I want to say, when they got divorced, and my dad had another woman around, and she turned into my stepmom, and I did not make it easy. I was all like, you know what? You're not my mom.
You were that kid.
Not listening.
Yeah.
Not listening to you. I don't like you around. You are not a part of this family. You're an outsider. All that. Like, I was.
Did your dad try to talk to you about you got to give her a chance?
Yeah.
You got to be nicer to her, and you've got to she's like a parental figure now for you.
Yeah, I want to say I did have that conversation, but it didn't matter.
Okay.
It didn't matter. And I remember I'd get in trouble, and I remember that my dad, he had got a babysitter for me and my sisters when I was like 15 years old.
Oh.
It was like, well, obviously you're not mature, so I'm getting a...
Oh, gosh.
So I had literally a babysitter who was
like your age?
3 or 4 years older than me,
Yeah.
and I'm just like up in my room the entire time.
Well, sure.
I did not come down, anything. I'm like,
that's dumb.
Nope.
Wow. Carol said, well, I'd say if you really want to grow old with this man, bite your tongue for the next couple of years. Teenagers are hard, but they grow up and they apologize. That is tough. Bree says, does he have a section of the house that's designated for just him? Garage, man cave, office? Take all of their crap and throw it in his space. When he responds, just say, well, I'm sick of looking at it and you don't seem to have a problem with it, so it can all go in here with you. And girl, I'm talking the dishes they leave, exactly how they leave them, their clothes and hair products or irons they leave out, everything, put it in his space. You can train a man just like you do a child, unfortunately. You just got to do it in the most ridiculous way possible for them to get it.
So she's saying, really put it on your husband.
Yes, like she mentioned, okay, so they never pick up after themselves. Okay, so then put it where it's going to really affect dad so that he gets the point you're trying to make.
Yeah, because I don't think you try to do something like that to the daughters, because that
yeah, no.
I think that's just going to make the wedge deeper.
Oh, it's going to pour gasoline on the fire, I think.
Yeah.
A little bit. But if it's, just trying to convince them to keep their own spaces tidy, I don't know. That could be a losing battle. The problem is you can't get hubby on board in seeing your point. He doesn't seem to be backing her up as being an authority figure in the house.
Yeah, I think that's going to be
the main problem.
Problem number one to solve is to get him to understand.
Yes,
this is a problem.
Right.
Yeah. All right. So I know there are those who have been in this exact same situation. I don't know if it was different than what I described mine was or not, but let us know, because I think that could help Karen out here. 502-795-1997. What your experience was in this.
Yeah, maybe you got some sort of a way that she can try to win the girls over.
Yeah. Group therapy, it's one that I feel like a lot of people go through, where Karen having a hard time getting her teenage stepdaughters to listen to her and respect her, really, and not really getting a whole lot of help from her husband, a.k.a. the father.
Yeah, he's all like, well, we have a year until the oldest goes to college, just ride it out.
Yeah.
And be patient, which a lot of people are saying is probably not the best Way to go. Alex says, have a family conversation. Explain how you feel when they talk back. Set the expectations. But also ask the kids how they feel when you make a request. Maybe it's the way you're asking or requesting. There needs to be compromise on both sides, and your husband needs to hear you. Explain that you feel unheard and unsupported. If he still acts the same way, that is a different conversation.
So, Stephanie, you had a similar situation where you were kind of the older of the blended family, older kid of the blended family.
My mom has been remarried, and my stepdad has 2 kids. You know, me being a little bit older, my mom told me some of that plan, too, just so I could help, I guess, be a good role model for all of that, too.
Yeah.
So once they sat down with and talked about it and everything, that was the big thing that they did.
So almost having maybe a big family intervention with everybody and lay it all out.
Yeah.
All right, Stephanie, hey, thank you.
You're welcome. Thank
all right,
you.
Take care. Hey, Becca, so what's your thought?
So I actually have a 6-year-old stepdaughter, and I have a child with my fiance, and he and I had to have a lot of conversations behind closed doors because you obviously don't want to do that in front of the kids.
Right.
But I just had to tell him, like, if you expect me to treat her the same way that I'm treating our daughter, this is how it's going to be. And she needs to pick up after herself just like our 2-year-old does. Like, it has to be equal. I'm not going to treat her differently and give her special treatment.
Yeah.
So that, you know, like, because she's from a different relationship. Like, she has to be treated the same. She has to have that same expectation. Like, and you have to have those conversations. And yeah, sometimes they can be hard, but they are worth it because now we work together a lot better when parenting her. She picks up after herself just like our 2-year-old does. So it's worth just having conversations and making sure that you stay consistent and firm in your boundaries when it comes to that kind of a thing.
Being united and consistent, definitely 2 things that need to happen between the parents. I think you're absolutely right on that.
Yeah, because if there's no consistency between you all, the kids pick up on it and they use it against you.
Yep.
Yeah, so you're just reiterating you've got to get the dad, your husband.
Yeah, he's got to get on board. He needs to understand they need to respect her as much as they respect him, which doesn't sound like a lot.
Right. And it's showing them when he literally, like, goes against everything that she's saying and rescinds her punishment, like, oh, we're not on the same page, you know. It doesn't really matter what she says. You know, what I say goes.
Yeah, all right. Thank you, Becca.
Lexi says, instead of negative reinforcement, why don't we try positive reinforcement? Tell the girls, hey, if you keep your spaces picked up this week or pick up after yourselves, we'll go get your nails done or your hair or take you to buy a new outfit, something that they might enjoy.
Man, all these millennial parents.
It might be a better way to go if the threats are not working.
My parents were boomers, and it's just like, wait, if you don't want a sore butt, this is what you're going to do.
Exactly. That worked on us, but you need a new set of tools nowadays.
Yeah. All right. Yeah, I don't think there is one set thing that you can do. But yes, I think we're all agreeing that you got to get your husband on board.
Yes, you guys have to be united, and he has to reiterate that you deserve the same level of respect, which sounds like there may be a lot of that lacking just in general in the household. It sounds like that he's not a big disciplinarian or, you know, keeping them in a tight ship to begin with. But I think if she is honest with, you know, the way she feels and, you know, they can start to see her as a human. I think I noticed when I kind of share, you know, my feeling, remind my kids that I'm a human person with feelings, they tend to react a little bit differently, than when you're just an authority figure, for what they're doing wrong. So I think there was a lot of good suggestions here on a way that you can approach it to try to find middle ground and let them know that you know it's difficult, change is hard, and you're just trying to find a way where everyone can be happier in the house.
All right. Well, good luck, Karen. Keep us posted. That is Group Therapy.